So there I was, standing outside of an airplane as it was flying through the sky. I had a death grip on the railing, and I think I was trying to lean into the plane just a little bit as well. And I was doing a countdown that started at 8 seconds. And I'm just squeezing onto the railing. I'm looking out over the wing. I'm looking at these beautiful mountains. I'm looking way down below me at the ground. And I'm counting 3, 2, 1. And that was the moment I was supposed to let go. And I didn't want to let go, because on my back was a parachute that I had just packed for myself. And I would be doing a solo skydive and trusting that that parachute would open. But there was really no good option to get back in the plane. So in that moment, I took a big breath and I let go. My name is Jeff Grant, and today I'm here in the role of a coach. Not so much an entertainer, not so much a speaker, but a coach. And I share this with you because it changes the feeling a bit in the room. If we think that we're just having a conversation together. In my role as a coach, I'm not really telling you what to do this or don't do that. I'm inviting you to think and to shift your mind into a mode where you can start connecting dots and maybe finding insights that will help you on your journey. I'll share some stories today, and as you hear the stories, I just invite you to open your mind and think, what thought does that bring, and how could I bring something into my life that will help? That will help in your personal life, in your family life, with your dreams, in your professional life. I'm here today as a coach to support you, to serve you. I spend my life, and I work a lot with clients who spend their lives in a world of epic challenges, endurance events, adventures. We get a lot of joy, we get a lot of excitement out of this world. We sign up for events, we dream up big adventures, we put a plan in place, and we prepare for the adventure. And then the event arrives, and when we're deep in the experience, deep in the moment, all bets are off. And this is where the real fun begins. I've spent a few decades now in this world. I've learned a lot. I've made a lot of observations. And one of the biggest lessons I've learned is that growth happens when you receive adversities. We know this. You receive a challenge, you receive adversity. But growth happens when the adversities you receive aren't the ones that were on the menu, not the ones you expected and that you prepared directly for. It was the unexpected adversities. This is what creates growth that goes far beyond the activity you're doing and connects into other parts of your life. And it's the kind of growth that makes a difference over years and even decades. I'll share a story as an example. A few years ago, I was invited to do an event called the Epic Charity Challenge. It was in Normandy, France. It was a commemoration of D-Day. And the idea was we would be taken offshore. It was about 30 of us, a group of about 30. We'd be taken offshore, dropped into the English Channel, and we would swim 10 kilometers back to shore. We would land on shore, load up heavy rucksacks, and do a ruck march that would be 5 or 6 hours, covering the distance of about a marathon. I was very excited about this event. There were some amazing people on the team, and I spent a year getting ready for it. This involved swimming in freezing cold Swiss lakes over the winter, in snow and gray days, on windy days. I even had swims where I had to cut through the ice to get into the cold water. The team from around the world was also doing incredible preparations for a year to be mentally ready to take on this challenge. The day before the event, it was beautiful weather in Normandy, sunny, clear skies. But the day of the event, it turned into a storm. We were to be escorted by the French Coast Guard offshore, taken 10 kilometers offshore, dropped in the middle of the English Channel. And the Coast Guard that morning said, "No way, the event is off, way too dangerous. We can't take the little boats out." We spent a year training for this event, and no one in this group would want to say, "No, we're going to give up because it's a rough weather day." So we convinced the Coast Guard to still do the event, but they could only take 3 boats out, which would be 10 swimmers, 10 athletes per boat. And when swimmers swim across, when they do a full crossing of the English Channel, you have a boat, an escort boat per swimmer. And now we were looking at these to have 1 boat for 10. Not very safe, but we were strong athletes, prepared, ready to do this. So we spent an hour getting shuttled out to the starting point. And this was a pretty rough hour. Some of us were getting seasick already. We weren't inside a boat. There was a little deck in the back of the boat, and we're just laying out on this little deck, kind of crammed up there as it takes us out to shore for an hour. And it's just rocking back and forth. And we were all thinking, as we were starting to get seasick already, let's just get in the water. Let's just get in the water and start this thing. So they say, go, and we jump in the water. From 10 kilometers offshore, you can't see the land. You can't really see anything. There were moments you could barely see your swim buddy near you, much less the rest of the group, much less the boats. To even see the boats, you would have to wait until a wave lifted you up, and then you could see, oh, the boat's there, go left, go right. We swim for an hour. Seems okay. It's rough water. All of these adversities at this moment, they were on the menu. These are things that we expected. No one was complaining. And suddenly there's a Coast Guard boat next to each of us, and they're pulling us out of the water. We're resisting. Like, no, we don't want to stop. But they said, you have to come out now. It's way too dangerous. What we didn't know is we had such a strong wind current. The conditions were worsening. We were getting blown far off course. Plus, there was no way they could control the size of this group. We just kept moving out larger and larger, so the area they had to manage if there was ever an emergency or if a swimmer was just blown away, it was too great for the 3 boats. So they said, safety reasons, we're going to pull you inside. So we're on the boats, not happy about the situation, and they do a head count, and they say, oh, someone is missing. There's a missing swimmer. This is a very serious problem. We're thinking one of our friends is now lost at sea. The weather's getting worse. This is not a good situation to be in. It's very confusing as well because we really can't talk well between the boats. The conditions are so rough. The Coast Guard is on the radio. They start doing a search, and we're just waiting and waiting. We're also getting seasick because this boat is rocking back and forth, rocking back and forth. Everyone gets seasick, including the Coast Guard, which honestly made me feel better. I thought, okay, the professionals at sea are also struggling with this situation. All of the swimmers, we had wetsuits on, neoprene wetsuits, but now the water had come out of the wetsuits and we weren't being active, so now we're getting very cold. We're getting borderline hypothermic. Blue lips, all the color out of the face. Starts to be a pretty rough situation, and we can't do anything physically. We can't jump in the water and search. There's nothing we can do to feel like we're part of this process of this search. Well, an hour passes, and we all learn that there actually is no one missing. It was a mistake in the counting. This is great news. So, first of all, there's no friend that's missing. We couldn't figure out who was missing in the moment anyway, and now we know no one is missing. We're happy about that. But we're also, all of us are feeling pretty sick at this moment. All of us are very cold at this moment and we want to take action. We need to do something. We need to get back on the menu with the adversities that we had trained for, that we were ready for. What had just happened that past hour, that wasn't on the menu. We didn't directly prepare for that scenario, but it's the adversity we got in that moment. The Coast Guard now tells us, it's over, we take you back to the harbor. And it's going to be an hour or two to get back to the harbor. We're miserable in this condition now, happy that no one's lost, but we're feeling very uncomfortable and we want to get back on the mission. We want to do the thing we've been training to do. So we argue with the Coast Guard and eventually they say, fine, we can see land now. It's too dangerous for us to get any closer with the boats, so anyone who jumps in the water now, you're on your own. We're not going to save you. That was the vibe, the feeling we were getting, and we decided we're getting in the water because now we can take action. We can do what we trained to do. We jump in the water and we start swimming. It felt great. It's a rough sea, it's a cold sea, and there was no better feeling than getting off the boat and starting to do the work again. We got back on the menu. We were on the adversity menu and super happy about it. We built up the heat in the body again and we finished the job. We made it to shore. We loaded up the heavy rucksacks. We did the march. We were going for 5 or 6 hours before we got to the final finish line and we finished the adventure. This experience really touched me, and it touched me in that it was the adversity that wasn't on the menu that meant everything in the end. It meant it for the event because it was a D-Day commemoration, so there was a better connection to the past, to the meaning of the event. That's one reason. But also it opened up a lot of lessons in life, that the growth happens, the true growth happens when the adversity you receive isn't the one you expected. It's the one that wasn't on the menu. What you do in that situation, how you respond, how you view it, how you embrace it, how you act, how you learn from the moment. This can be very powerful. It can be a game changer for you. So what's the lesson? What's the overarching lesson here? High performers are experts at responding to the adversities that are on the menu. They thrive in this world. This makes sense to us. We see this in high performers. We see it in overachievers. We see it in very successful people. The true growth happens, though, when you invite adversities in your life and you practice with adversities that aren't the ones that are on the menu. When you get truly out of your comfort zone. So if you want growth, personal growth, if you want to drive transformation, if you want to lead change, you have to bring things into your life that bring you out of your comfort zone on a regular basis. This is how you train for the adversities that you will receive in these roles that aren't the ones that are on the menu. I'm sharing stories today in the sense of adventure and long endurance challenges. But when I urge you to bring adversities into your life, to invite them in, to practice getting uncomfortable, it doesn't have to be in that world. It can be. You can do marathons, ultramarathons, triathlons, big swims, sure. You can also find discomfort in many other areas of life. For me personally, in the past year alone, I decided I wanted to be a private pilot. So I learned to fly airplanes, solo flew my first airplane, did my first solo landings. Amazing experiences. I learned a lot about it. Definitely out of my comfort zone. I learned to be a skydiver. And I did my first skydive with a parachute on my back that I had packed for myself. So the story I told at the beginning, this was the first time I was diving with my own, skydiving with my own parachute. I took a course. A day and a half I learned how to pack a parachute. And then at the end of the course, the instructor said, okay, nice work unpacking that parachute. Get in the plane and jump out of the plane with your own parachute on. Wow, that was a big moment to think, Do I trust myself to do this? Did I do everything the right way? It took me over an hour to pack that parachute that I jumped that day. And then I felt the fear, I felt the moment where I'm deciding on the edge of the plane, am I really going to trust myself? Am I going to trust the system, trust the process? Am I willing to let go and fly? And when I reach back, the parachute I packed will open. These stories, the becoming a pilot, the skydiving, they taught me a lot. They took me out of my comfort zone. But nothing took me out of my comfort zone as much as writing a song and then recording that song about a tough moment in life. The moment that touched me the most in a year of taking on some bucket list challenges, some challenges where I'm a person who likes to get out of his comfort zone. I was doing lots of these things. The one that touched me the most wasn't sports. It wasn't in an adventure. It was in expression. It was in telling a story. It was in performing. Now, I share this with you, bringing us back to insight mode, to think what kinds of discomfort areas, what does it look like to step outside the comfort zone for different people? There are major lessons that you can bring into your life. There are new connections you can make in your mind when you spend a little extra time and effort in the world of discomfort. What we're very good at, what high performers are really good at, is finding more discomfort to bring into their lives that fits the menu. Okay, work harder? Sure. Take on more projects? Got it. Work out more? No problem. That's within the menu. It gets to be challenging when you start looking outside the menu. That's where the true discomfort is. It could be having difficult conversations. It could be spending time alone in nature or without devices for some number of hours or days. It could be opening yourself up to true vulnerability. This is where discomfort is for many of us. This is where discomfort outside the menu is for many of us. And this is where true growth can happen. And that's the world that I invite you to give extra attention to explore more in, and to open your mind to have more of in your life. Thank you.